Hey folks, here we are again. One more week, one more kick at the can, back through the power of the interwebs. And I told you that this week I was going to be installing and reviewing Linux Mint for your pleasure. And that has not changed. However, there is one other thing I'm going to be doing. Today you're going to be getting two videos. And that is because the first thing I want to show you is things that will be pretty common across all Linux distros that you might be inclined to install. Most of them will be the same. There's a few out there that are a lot more complex to install, but for the most part, the what I believe are the user-friendly, easy to install distros, easy to use, good for people who are migrating over from Windows. Those distros are all going to have pretty common installers. So there's going to be some pretty common steps that you're going to have to take among all of them. Now, the first step you're going to have to take is to decide which distro you want. There's a lot to choose from out there. Some is more technical than others. So you want to get something that's at your technical comfort level. And if you're somebody who is switching over from Windows and doesn't know what programming is, has never used a command line shell, then there's only a certain few distros you might want to try. I would say Ubuntu is probably one of them. Mint is, if I remember correctly, Mint is Ubuntu based. Yes, it's Bazite that's Fedora based. That's what you're seeing here right now is my Bazite desktop. This is the default desktop that comes with Bazite. I haven't changed the background picture at all, the wallpaper. Have not changed it. This is the default. You notice how he's running Bazite on all his various devices there, and the person sitting on the couch isn't a person, it's a penguin. For those of you who may or may not be familiar with that, Tux the penguin is the mascot of Linux. So he is often featured in almost every distro out there in one way or another. There's even a game you can get, and it's absolutely free, and I don't remember what it's called. I think it has Tux in the name. And it's basically similar to Super Mario Brothers. You're controlling the penguin Tux, and you're going through these levels, and you jump up and you hit the squares above your head, and out pop coins and all that kind of fun stuff. But anyway, moving right along here, what we're going to need once we've made the decision of which distro we're going to try out, what we're going to need is an ISO of that distro. ISO is just a file type. It's nothing that you need to concern yourself too much with. If you don't know anything about file types, that's fine. What you need to do is you need to go to the website for the distro you've chosen, and I'm going to go with Mint today. And we're going to find the Linux Mint download. So here we are on the linuxmint.com website, and we're on the download page. And you've got many choices here. You can download the Cinnamon desktop, which is what I would recommend. Cinnamon is the most popular desktop edition for Linux Mint, and it is primarily developed, as you can see on the screen here. It says it's primarily developed for and by Linux Mint. I would also point out that Cinnamon is probably the closest thing you're going to find to a Windows desktop now. XFCE is close, as you can see. Mate is also close. It's got the same style of like a start button and your menu pops out there. But Cinnamon is the most popular. It's the one that I'm used to, and so that's the one we're going to go with. Now, you click on download. I've already got it on my system, so I don't need to download it. I downloaded it just a few days ago to install it on my laptop. So I've already got the file. But what you're going to do is you click on download, and then you come down to where you want to download it from. Now, being in Thunder Bay, I usually use a Canadian one, and I usually use the Manitoba Unix user group. But you can use one that's close to you, or you can just go for one of the world repositories or mirrors. And if I was going with the world mirror, I would go with the one that says Linux Mint. That's just my personal preference. So you click on that, your download begins, and you'll find it in, who'd have thunk it, your downloads folder. Now we're assuming here that you're in Windows and you're wanting to switch over. I, however, am not in Windows. I'm in Bazzite Linux. So we're going to break here, and I'm going to go to my Windows desktop. And I'm going to show you how to take care of it from there. Hey everybody, here we are again through the magic of cinematography. We are now in Windows 11. So let's go ahead and pretend that you have downloaded Linux Mint 22.2 and it's in your downloads folder. Okay. As you can see, I've got Debian in here, or Debian as some people pronounce it. I kind of go between the two. And I've got Bazzite in here, which I downloaded in August. I do not have Linux Mint in here, but that's okay. You do, and that's all we need. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put this on our desktop, even though I didn't when I originally downloaded it. I will get to this in a moment and show you what this is that I'm doing. Pin to taskbar, that'll work. Okay, so you've downloaded Linux Mint 22.2 Cinnamon Edition, and you've got it in your downloads folder, which is perfectly fine. The next thing you need to do before you touch that file is you need to download a program called Rufus. Or you could also use a program called Balena Etcher. This is the website for Balena Etcher. I've never actually used it. I've only ever used Rufus. And so that's what we're going to be going with here. So we go to the Rufus website and we scroll down a little bit to where it says download. And we want to download this third one here that says Windows x86. The reason why you don't want to download the Windows x64 is because the x86 is a little more it plays with other formats well. The x64 is for 64-bit version of Rufus, and you may not want a 64-bit version of Rufus because you may be using it on 32-bit files. So that's why we go with the x86. So we click on that. It's going to prompt us to save it in our downloads folder. Now I recommend you to save it in your desktop, and I'll show you why. I'm not saving it because I already have it. The reason why you should save it to your desktop is because Rufus does not need to be installed. The program that you just downloaded called Rufus is executable. All you have to do is click on it, say yes to that, and there's Rufus. It's running. It hasn't been installed. It doesn't need to be installed. It's just a little program. Now, why did we download that? Let's get to that, shall we? Let's see here. I need to show myself. There we go. And I'm going to show you this. As you can see it, there you go. There's one end, there's the other. This is a Kingston 16 gig USB flash drive. Now what we're going to do is we're going to plug that into a USB port on our computer. And with that plugged in, we're going to go back to Rufus. And with that, I need to disappear my face again. And we'll get this OBS window out of the way. Okay, so now we're back to Rufus. We want to select, yeah, that's the right one. The drive letter will vary. Yours probably won't be drive L. It might be drive D, it might be drive E. But it'll probably say Kingston Data Traveler if that's what you own. I've formatted this thing so many times that it just has no label. But you will notice that it says 16 gigabytes. That's the one you want to have showing in there. And see, now that I hovered my mouse, my cursor over it, it shows me that it's a Kingston Data Traveler 2.0 USB device, 14.4 gigabytes. That's what you want. Boot selection, we leave that as it is, and we click on select. Then we find our Linux Mint ISO file that we just downloaded. Double click that. I'm going to double click on the Debian one just for now, just for demonstration's sake. And now you see the file name is there under the boot selection. Everything else is fine. Leave it as is. Even FAT32 should stay as is. Do not change it to NTFS because then it won't work for Linux. And then you click Start. And what will happen is it'll ask you, let me just, yeah, I don't want to. It should, when you click Start, it should make you confirm that you are aware that it's going to destroy all data on that flash drive. So don't use a flash drive that you're using to store your grandchildren's pictures or something like that. You want to have an empty flash drive that has no purpose right now, other than being an empty flash drive. And you hit Start. It'll ask you to confirm. You confirm it. And then you'll see a green progress bar coming across here. And boom, it'll be ready. So once we have that, then comes the fun part. I'm going to have to switch to a camcorder because I don't have a way of capturing the desktop when I'm not in an operating system like Windows or Bazite. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be restarting my computer and then going into the BIOS menu. And that'll be where I'm going to show you how to set your BIOS, your boot priority, so that it boots to the flash drive that you just created. So, through the magic of cinematography, I'll be... Okay, so now we've restarted the computer, and what's going to happen is, because I've got dual monitors, it's actually going to show up on that monitor first. And what we're going to have to do is, in my case, hit the delete button repeatedly. That didn't do it. Oh, I can do that. Normally you would hit the delete button or the F2 button repeatedly until it goes into your BIOS. And you're going to see that soon, I hope. But I'm not sure which monitor it'll be on. Oh, we have activity over here. There we are. So this is your BIOS menu. This is going to look different for everybody, but you want to find an area called boot priority or boot. There might be a menu that looks more like this, and you go click on boot, and then you can change your boot options. Now in my case, I'm going to disable Fedora. I'm going to disable Windows. Now all I'm left with is the Kingston Data Traveler. So we go back to easy mode and we save and exit. Yes. Okay. So now I've shown you how to change the boot order in your BIOS. And we're moving right along. The weird thing with having two monitors is that most of this boot up information will show up on the side monitor, the second monitor. And okay, so now we have an option to start Linux Mint. That's what we want to do. And it shouldn't take too long for that to happen. But like I say, yeah, most of it wants to show up on the second monitor, and then after it gets past a certain point in the boot sequence, I don't know what that point is, but once it gets past that point, then it all shows up on the main monitor. As it should. So there's the lovely Linux Mint logo. And booting, booting, booting. I just wanted you to see all of this from my point of view, so that you know what you're looking at when it starts to happen on your computer. You'll have a frame of reference. And I didn't realize it until now, but I had my ring light on behind my monitor. There we go, we've got a cursor. And there we are, we have a desktop. There's the Linux Mint desktop, number 2 monitor. Alrighty. So, again, through the magic of cinematography, I shall see you soon as I switch back to my desktop. Well, that was silly. I'm not switching back to my desktop because I'm in the Linux Live version and I don't have OBS Studio installed, so I can't record my desktop. Anyway, take a look at that. You see that? Currently, we are running off of the flash drive. We're not running off the hard drive in our computer. And that's what you want. That's one of the features you want to look for in a Linux distro, because then you can do this. You can play around with it and get used to using it. So down here in the bottom left, we have what you Windows folks would call your Start button. And then we have our menu. And everything is in there. All your applications are here. Most of them are sorted by category. So finding certain things sometimes is a bit of a chore, but you've got a search bar right up here. So you can search your Start menu. As you can see, LibreOffice is pre-installed. LibreOffice will give Microsoft Office or 365 a run for its money. It'll do all the same things and it's free. Sound and video. Now this is where you would want to click on Install Multimedia Codecs. Don't ask me what a codec is, I don't really know. But what it does is it enables your media player to play certain files. Some files can't be played without the right codecs. But not all codecs are free. And that's why Linux Mint leaves you the option of installing them or not installing them. Right now we have all the free codecs installed, but we don't have any of the non-free codecs. And it's not free by money. It's free as in open source and available for any programmer with the know-how to tinker with. And it's also free for any creator of a Linux distro to include with the distro. So Ubuntu, being very focused on free stuff like that, they don't include these certain codecs because they're not exactly free. They come with a whole multitude of restrictions. And so Ubuntu says, okay, fine, we're not going to do that because we only use absolutely free software. But Ubuntu leaves the choice up to you. You can install them if you wish. Now, administration is where you're going to find things like a backup tool. Disk usage analyzer, you'll probably never use that. Driver manager, you'll probably never use that, but you might. Gparted is for partitioning and organizing those partitions on your disks, should you choose to do so. Should you find yourself in the need of a partitioned drive. Software sources. This is where you're going to download all your other programs from. This is what the Linux community calls repositories. The repositories are full of software. I clicked on the wrong thing though. It wasn't sources that I wanted. That's just to change your software sources if you need to do that. Sometimes you do. Software manager is what I want. Sometimes the program that you go looking for isn't going to be in the software manager, and that's where you might need to edit your software sources and add a source to it that has the program you're looking for. But as you can see, there's a lot here to choose from. FreeTube, an open source YouTube app. Dropbox is here, Spotify. Bitwarden is a very good password manager. It's the one that I use. Now the first thing that I would recommend you install on here is BRAVE. I mentioned this in a previous video, and it says no matching packages. That's okay. I think we have to do it from the Brave website. However, we can't install anything while we're running off the USB drive. So we have to go up here and install Linux Mint. This is getting to be the fun part. Now again, this is something that is common among most distros, and so that's why I'm showing it to you in this video. Hey folks, look at me, here I am. Alrighty, and so now, through the magic of cinematography, we are on the Linux Mint desktop. So now, I'm going to show you the Linux Mint desktop. In just a moment, because I forgot to add it, so obviously I have to do that. Okay, now you can see it. And get rid of that. Now you can see the desktop. So if we were to go up here, we would double click this, it would install Linux. But we're not going to do that today because I've only got this computer to do this on, and I've got Windows and Bazite installed on this computer already. The only way for me to make sure that my drives don't get screwed up during the installation would be to actually open the computer up and take the drives out, and I'm not going to do that because they've got thermal paste on them and stuff like that, and it's just going to weaken them. So I don't want to do that. So unfortunately, what we're going to do here is we're going to end this video as it is, because I've shown you everything I can show you as far as getting ready to set it up. I've shown you how to use Rufus in Windows, and I've shown you how to change your BIOS order, your boot order in the BIOS, sorry, in order to make sure that it boots to the flash drive. And now you see what we look like on the desktop. So that'll be it for this video. God's willing, Daffy Duck willing, we'll see y'all in the next one. And that'll be today. Ciao for now.